Hello and welcome to Gardening with Ben's award-winning podcast, as voted by Grow Your Own magazine and by my followers and listeners. So if you're new to the podcast, make sure you click that subscribe button to stay up to date with all our podcasts, listen back to all our previous episodes, sit back, grab a brew and let's enjoy today's episode. Hello everyone and welcome back to Gardening with Ben for an episode today. I hope you're all well and I hope you've all had a good weekend. It's the start of a brand new week, which means it's a start to learning more gardening tips and advice, whether it be from me, whether it be from online gardening groups, or whether it be from a TV show. You're always learning with gardening. I know I'm certainly learning every single day. And yesterday was one of the main days of gardening learning for me, because I was learning from all my followers all about how to plant a grapevine, because I've never grown a grapevine before. That's something new to me. So rather than look it all up, I asked my followers what is the best way to grow a grapevine, and a lot of people were telling me that I need to plant the root outside and then train it inside my greenhouse or polytunnel. So that's exactly what I've done. That's why I've planted it. I've planted it outside my greenhouse and I'm going to grow it into the greenhouse over the year and see how well it does. So thank you if you were one of those people that gave me tips and advice. It's always good to learn from one another, and I'm certainly learning all the time, and I don't think I'll ever will stop learning. So what have we been up to today? Well, today's my last day down at the allotment because I'm back on nights tonight, and I don't usually go to the allotment when I've been on nights. I don't usually wake up till about 2:30. The only time I tend to go down to the allotment when I've been on nights is during the summer periods, when either I'll go after I finish shift to go and water it all, or I'll wake up in the afternoon if it's nice and go down there for a couple of hours. But at the moment I don't need to go down. I can cope without being on the allotment for 4 days and then go back to the allotment for another 4 days to spend some good time there. So that's the only time I'll be back down at the plot. So we're going to be resting now for 4 days. We're going to be building our energy back up and thinking of what to put on that list of jobs to do when I go back. So today we have been finishing off maintenance work around my fruit tree area, what's been probably there for about 10 years now in my plot. I gave it a massive revamp years ago, the fruit tree area, and it needed a bit of a repair. Some of the wood was starting to rot around my edging and around my beds, but I've replaced a few pieces of wood around there. I've also pruned my cooking apple tree back a bit because it was getting too tall and we're not meant to let them grow too big on our site, so I've given it a little bit of a tidy up. And then this week I've been creating a new flower bed down the side of my fruit trees, so that is all in place. I've filled it all up with old compost, what was just in my shed from when I've used it for growing tomatoes and stuff in. I just chuck all the buckets worth of compost into a bin, and I reuse it in areas that I can plant flowers in and stuff like that. I won't reuse it for seeds, but I'll reuse it in my beds down the sides of the plot to improve the soil and to grow flowers in it. And also it looks nicer when you've filled them up with compost rather than the soil look, so it does look a bit better. So we've been doing that, and my lord, it did take a lot of compost to fill this bed up, but we've done it, we've managed it all. So that is all complete. So I need to be working out and planning what flowers I'm going to be growing in that bed. And it's a new bed. There is some raspberry canes what grow in it, so I'm going to be filling it up with flowers, and the raspberry canes will obviously grow through it and grow up behind it. But yeah, it's certainly going to add a lot more colour to the plot. I'm just adding new flower beds everywhere all over my plot this year, and I just can't wait for summer. I know I keep saying that in all my podcasts, but it's going to look fantastic this year. If it all goes to plan and I keep up with the momentum and the enjoyment what I'm spending down there at the moment, it's really going to look fantastic this year, and I can't wait to share it all with you. And if you do follow me on my socials, I am starting to put out more photos at the moment and share more stuff with you all, as obviously it's starting to get a lot nicer on the plot and stuff like that at the moment. Things are starting to appear and look good, so we'll be sharing a lot more content over the time, and I hope you all enjoy the content that we do share. And obviously on my Facebooks I go live all the time, so you can see what I'm actually doing down there rather than me just explaining it over a podcast. It's good to see it sometimes, so you can always check out my Facebook lives as well, where I give like tours around the plot and show what's happening. So yeah, we've done all that. So next week's task is going to be a lot harder than this week's task. This week's task was to sort out the maintenance around where my plum trees are, make a couple of new flower beds around there, which I did, and obviously around my fruit trees, making that nicer and adding some flower beds in there. And also I repaired my polytunnel as well, and I also planted a lot more fruit and bulbs as well. So I did do quite a lot this week on my 4 days off. But next week's task is a lot harder, because this is my new fruit area. All the fruit's now planted in this area, that's all sorted. I've got my thornless blackberries, I've got some summer raspberry canes what have been popping up where they shouldn't do, so I've moved them all into this new fruit area. I've got my strawberry plants, I've got my red gooseberries, I've got my new blueberry plants, I've got my new Victoria plum trees, I've got my grapevine. So there's quite a lot going off in this area. And next up is to sort out the size of the beds, because some of the beds are too wide and I can't walk down them with my big feet. I do usually like to have my beds, my paths, a paving slab width to walk down, because if I do manage to acquire some paving slabs from anyone, if you live in the Sheffield area, send me a message if you've got any paving slabs you want to drop off at my allotment. I can't pick them up unfortunately because my boot doesn't work, but if you've got any, I will gladly accept them. As I acquire paving slabs, I do like to fill the paths up with them, because it is a lot nicer to walk on paving slabs than on the black membrane or on the soil, because it's nice and flat and you can just sweep all the muck off it and it looks a lot nicer. So yeah, I like to use paving slabs on my paths wherever possible, wherever I can acquire them from, to be honest. I will be looking at starting, once I've got all my plot back in shape and tidied up, that will be the next plan, to start buying a few more paving slabs every single week to complete all my paths. That's going to be certainly a mission and a half, because it will need quite a lot of paving slabs. And like I said, my boot's not working, so I have to put them through the side door, but yeah, we can get a few in there at a time and hopefully get it all sorted. So there's quite a lot of work still left to do on my plot as we get along. So the next, I'll only have 3 days off next, because obviously when I've finished my 4th night I lose a day because I'm sleeping till the afternoon and I won't get down to the allotment, so we won't get much done that day. So next week's job is going to be sorting out all this new fruit area. I need to make sure all the paths are wide enough, all the beds are secure, and then the main task is to sort out down the side of my plot, because my plot's a bit higher than my neighbour's plot and it's starting to capsize at one side, so I need to look at a way of keeping the soil up and also put up a new fence, because the fencing's just all collapsed. I did secure it after it had been windy because it had all blown down, but it's really had it now. It needs a good looking at and a good sorting out, and hopefully we can make it look nice, really, because that's what I plan to do, is make the area look as nice as possible and looks great, yeah. I like to have nice growing areas and make it look attractive. I know it's only an allotment, it's only somewhere where you tinker around, but it's nice and good to have pride in the work that you do. I'm sure you're the same when you're at home or on the allotment. You like to take pride in how it looks and whether it looks nice or not. So we're going to be busy doing all that and getting it all ready. So it's going to take a long time to hopefully get it ready. I'm not expecting my plot to be finished until, what are we in now, March? The end of April. I want all my plot to be finished and ready for May time. So it's quite a mission and a half, but we are getting there, and I'm on track to doing it. The next 4 days we'll obviously be doing all that side plot, and then it'll be onto my main plot, which will be a lot harder and it'll take a long time to get all that ready and complete, because I've got some new beds to build on there as well. So it's going to be all systems go throughout March, getting it all ready. And like I said, I use April to paint all the beds and paint any bits in the shed what need doing. So it's going to be very busy over the coming time, but I know I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying it this year. This year has been a fantastic year so far down at the plot. I've spent so much time there, and the weather's been fantastic. It's not been bad to be down on the plot at all. I'm certainly getting into it this year, and I'm excited. I'm excited at the things I'm going to grow. Like, I'm going to be growing lots of different types of melons this year and giving them all the love and attention that they need to produce some fantastic fruit for me and the family and the friends. So yeah, I really am into doing it this year, so I'm excited to share it all with you. And now that I'm doing these podcasts more regularly, so you'll get to keep updated on how things are growing and how things are getting on. And yeah, it's going to be a good year for all round, and I hope that you do enjoy these podcasts. If you haven't clicked the subscribe button, do click the subscribe button, because obviously you get notified when a new episode appears. And if you want to leave a review, please do. You can leave a review on Spotify by giving it a star rating, or if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, you can leave a written review. And giving it a review does help me out, because it makes it get noticed more, and more people will listen, and you're doing me a big favour. So thanks for listening. Until next time, remember, keep smiling, keep gardening, and keep listening to Gardening with Ben's podcasts. So thank you for listening to today's episode of Gardening with Ben. We hope that you've enjoyed this episode. Remember to do click that subscribe button to stay up to date with all our podcasts. Feel free to share them on your Instagram stories so that it spreads the word about my podcast and we get lots more listeners. Feel free to check out my social media sites, Facebook and Instagram as well, Gardening with Ben, and also my YouTube channel, to stay up to date with all my handy videos, how-to videos, and sharing my tips and advice. And feel free to check the link as well in the description for my Gardening with Ben t-shirts. Lots of funny gardening design t-shirts in there for you to purchase at great prices too. So thanks again, and as always, remember, keep smiling and keep gardening.